Hello everybody, this is Frog Snack, and I am here not with the test time challenge today. I'm actually here with a quick how to maintain your neighborhood video that is sort of on the fly. There's some things that I've been meaning to, sort of do a quick video about and show you guys that might help you when you're trying to play The Sims 3 and keep your neighborhood alive a little bit longer, especially if you download a lot of things like I do, right? I tend to have a lot of CC. I kind of merge things together with Sims 3 package editor, or what is Sims 3 PE, right, where you can combine packages, and so the normal game will freak out if you have more than, I don't know, 100, and I probably have 4,000 that are combined into other packages, and that sort of thing can make your game really slow, and that on top of EA's normal operating sort of system for the game, the way the system operates, to control everything behind the scenes when you're not looking at it, that's what can make your game stutter, right? Is there's a stuck sim somewhere, there is sims that aren't making decisions because they're in the, somebody else is in their way, and so that they're just, kind of going back and forth. But there's also things like what's happening right now outside this house. I was recording a quick video, episode 26, I think, and here we've got Greta. Just sitting there, just standing there. And we just had our 3 a.m. cleanup, right? So the 3 a.m. cleanup is Error Trap and, I'm trying to remember the name of the mod from NRAAS that will clean it up for you, because it's MasterController and, I forget, I'm sorry. We'll look at it in just a second. Anyway, there's a car that's been parked outside of the house for an entire day. And I know some simmers that will just let it sit there and see how long. And it'll take like a week for the game to find it, or 15 days, or their sims will age up from young adult to like close to elder, and then the car that was parked out front of the house is gone. These things can take a long time. So Greta obviously isn't going to die from this. Sims 3 is a little different, where inactive sims, their needs aren't slowly decaying the way they used to in Sims 2, right? If this was Sims 2, she'd be dead. Quite frankly, because the game would get her stuck and she'd just die. Well, Sims 3, there's just a script running and running and running, and she's not even running. She's supposed to be, right? So I've got everything else going on in my neighborhood, but I have these couple of freeze frames. Now, the problem with these neighborhoods, big or small or anything, and pardon me, my graphics are going up and down a little. I just disabled the 2.0 shaders to see if it was a little quicker. So it might be a little graphically off for a minute. I'm supposed to restart and I didn't feel like it. Anyway, regardless, the point is there's a lot of cars and things that are invisible. Sometimes these things are stuck, and let's say you sold something from the Sims inventory, and it was technically still there. Well, this isn't his inventory, that's a purchase. But, sometimes you can try this where you take things, maybe you delete a window and you want to put a new window on the side of the house, but the game won't let you because there's still a window there, even though you just sold it. It's because the window's not removed until, sometimes until you get back into normal gameplay mode here on live mode instead of buy mode. So if you're in buy mode, it still sees a window, which means there's an invisible window somewhere. So those sorts of things happen behind the scenes with the game. And you can ask me more questions about that, but it's as simple as it is. The game is just always doing things that, maybe it's going to clean up in a second, but you don't see it right away. So one of the first things that it tends to do that I noticed the game doing is removing things from the user's site, from your site, so it looks cleaner than it is, and then behind the scenes it might be a hot mess. So here's our city hall. Of course, this is using NRAAS mods, because I do not play this game without those mods. I would just play Sims 2 if I didn't have NRAAS mods for 3. To be very honest, 3 I would have been fed up with it a long time ago. I probably would just not be able to play it the same way. And now that I know what it's like, I can't undo it. So anyway, we'll go to more, we just need NRAAS. NRAAS, however you want to say it, but I say NRAAS. Right, so MasterController. So what I was talking about, the 3 a.m. cleanup, where are we? These are all the mods I have. Is Overwatch. So Overwatch is excellent. A lot of times those stuck sims, missing pets. Sometimes a pet spawns because you have pets under a stairwell somewhere in a house you've never played, in a basement, in a tomb. You can't find them all, right? You can't find everything. The minor pets, the major pets, they all spawn. Well, a couple other things that happen. If you have, it was the second or third expansion, Sims 3 Ambitions. Something happened with the Ambitions game also, which is called the Ghost Hunter career. So we're going to talk about that for a second, because the Ghost Hunter career spawns ghosts in your town that you can never see. And once you discover them, you can't not know that they're there. It's not just like I always thought, where you go and get that job and then the ghosts and the jobs for it spawn. No, no, no. There is up to 35 or 6 spawned ghost points at some point in the game that are causing wayfind errors where your Sims can't get to one place or another that you cannot see unless you remove them physically. I have yet to find a mod that removes these ghosts, because sometimes it doesn't bother people, but when you're playing, I'm actually 5, 6 generations into this game that needs to go to 20 generations, and I need my town to be playable. Those ghosts are in my way. I had a Sim once that for game weeks, she was a proprietor, and the lot was kind of hard to get to, and so I thought it was the lot I had installed. Like, let's say down here somewhere I put a little lot. And this is a sloped beach. This isn't as big of a deal, but there was like a steep slope, and then I had, you know, a concert venue or something. And this chick could not get onto the venue because even though I had play tested it and she went up and down the hill and everybody was fine, a ghost at some point spawned on that lot, and she just did a loop-de-loop for weeks, game weeks, until I got back to her family to see that it was happening. So the 3 a.m. cleanup with Overwatch didn't solve that. Nothing solved this other than me removing the ghost manually. So I want to show you what that looks like. So aside from one thing that I'm going to do real quick, there's 2 primary things I will do to my game about once every 5 to 7 game days. Now it depends on how you play. It might be heavier or less heavy for you. You might not need this as often. But if your neighborhood is just becoming slow, you need MasterController. And you need to go into Town. So Town is general, as in an overview, as in not one specific family or Sim. And here's all of your Town options. So to run through them real quick, bury the dead. This is when Sims die that are not in your playable family, that are in the mausoleum, that normally you have to be that family in order to go to the mausoleum after 7 p.m. at night to claim the tombstone to put it out in the graveyard. You can bury the dead from here no matter who you are because you're, the watcher. Cleanse the dead buries them, basically deletes them all. But if you want to bury them, you can click on that and there are 0. Okay, so that's fine. All right. Anyway, but if you have some, it'll just open it up for you, which is nice. So again, MasterController Town, cleanse the dead, clear notifications is when you got a bunch of crap up here. Let's say you edited your, let's say you edited one of your mods, because that I've easily gotten up to 70 notifications sometimes, and here I am clicking through them. You can do it here. Drop all dreams and opportunities. There is an option in gameplay options through this menu here that normally, pops up from here, where you can preserve dreams and opportunities. If you're playing an entire town like I am for this challenge, and I'm playing 250 Sims or whatever, which is an extreme amount. Actually, it might be closer to 200. There's an option to keep their dreams preserved, but that obviously bogs your system down. So that's what MasterController is for, and a lot of people are familiar with it. So I'll just zip through here real quick. This isn't really a MasterController mod overview, but I can do it if you guys like. Manage the Dead, is the one that I mentioned, where it shows you all of the gravestones. Inherent Voices, I have never messed with that. I don't know. Object Add to Inventory. You can actually take some, objects from the town or from individual Sims, because this town option here is real similar to if you choose an individual Sim through MasterController options. They're very similar, so you can actually trade objects from one Sim to the other using MasterController. Stats is really interesting. This is something we're going to look at today. Object info goes into focus. So let's say I wanted to find a specific item that I had downloaded to the game. I'll use kind of an extreme example, but there's a mod called the Death Note mod. You can add the Death Note to your game, and it spawns randomly. And even if you go on vacation, there will be one Death Note somewhere in that world, and you're not going to find it for a while, but if you find it, okay, you can use it like a Death Note. That's what the mod is. If you want to find it, you can go here to Object Info, and you can click Local, because remember, we're in town, so the local objects in the town, this is every object in the town, you click Local, and then you go find it, and your next hint is what comes up here as to what the mod will be doing. This is the word focus. So if I want to find where my bills are, I have to let everything load. I want to, 230, again, that's how many Sims I have right now. You can focus on every Sim. You gotta watch. You click on this, you're cycling through 230 Sims in your town. might not need to be doing that. I don't want smoke detectors. This is not a bad thing for me to go find these, right? These are things I don't need for a couple of generations in this challenge. I could click focus, and let's go find them. Yeah, go ahead, display it. And it's like focus of any other kind. Hang on, I have to get back out of this. So it's in this lot, so I'd have to go in and edit this modern looking house, which I guess it makes sense that there would be one. But you see all of the information is here. The location of the object in the memory of your computer is here. So that's what focus does. It narrows in and it grabs, excuse me, and it grabs your camera and it pulls it over to the item, right? So you can get very detailed with the MasterController mod, and that's what I want you guys to notice. So MasterController, Town, info, reset, I don't need because I'm not going to, I reset every object in the town. That's what we're going to do right now. And then I'm going to show you object stats, which is not stats. It is, I think, mislabeled. I could be wrong about that. If somebody knows more from NRAAS, you can correct me. But it's not stats. It's actually a deletion of an object. So that's the most important thing for getting rid of our ghosts and everything else. Again, it says stats here, but when you get into local and it starts loading them, then you're going to see it's actually flush, which is delete. Right now we're going to reset. I'm not going to annihilate my town. And yes, you can do that from here. Purge written books is helpful if you have not had authors for a few generations and you're tired of all the other Sims writing tons of books that are in the libraries or however you have your mods set up. Those books could be everywhere. So you can actually get rid of hundreds or thousands of books this way. We're going to reset everything, and this is going to take several minutes. It's going to process. I do this once every game week. And I might do it like before I finish playing for the day so that the next time I play in the next couple days or whatever, that my game is just not sluggish and slow. I don't tend to do this like before I play every time or anything. You don't need that sort of maintenance. But you'll be able to tell how slow your game is by how many objects are found. And what I like about this option is that it will tell you how many items were found. The most I've ever had be flushed was upwards in 60,000, but that is very rare. Typically, by the time a town is slow, you're going to have 30 or 35,000 things that can or need to be reset. And when I say reset, think about an item in the game that your Sims can interact with, which is a lot of things, that might be set, doing a script, running a script, might be on, might be off. Just like when there's a 3 a.m. cleanup from the Overwatch mod, that cleanup turns off stereos, televisions, etc., etc. Might turn, I don't know if it does fireplaces, but it just does those sorts of things that are left on. Object reset gets everything back to as if your sim didn't turn it on. Resets it. That also means things like, and I haven't experimented with this because I don't play with these, but interactive toys, like let's say your sim child has the teddy bear out because they were doing the little cute little make tea interaction where they're having a tea party with their teddy bear and they've moved the teddy bear around the room. That might go back to where it originally was, or I'm guessing it would also affect their imaginary friend doll, which I do not play with those because they're creepy and hideous. And they also produce really bad Sims, but the reality is that's something that definitely needs to be reset from time to time. And you'll also see some script errors on occasion where if you didn't take it out of a mailbox, it's trying to change position in the mailbox because it has the script that runs on it that it will make it, look like it's moved when you weren't playing it, which I guess is supposed to be creepy. There's nothing cute about that, but part of the reason they're useless. But anyway, the reality is that script is in the game already. So if you have generations, you have the imaginary friend doll, and it is possibly in a crib trying to change positions and failing, or in somebody's inventory trying to change positions and failing. And this is why if you have a sim that grew up with one that didn't care about it and it's just in their inventory, it's still kicking out errors trying to change positions. Think about like how the gnomes do, right? The gnomes are successful changing positions, so they don't really interfere with the gameplay, not that I've seen. I don't really play with those either, but because they don't go in and out of inventory the same way, they don't go in and out of the mailbox the same way, something in the script is different. So this reset that I'm doing, which is taking a little bit longer because I'm recording, it's going to go find all those objects that have a script that runs on them and get them back to working order. You know, I've had to, at one point I had to reset like a coffee maker because, you know, whatever was going on with it, my sim couldn't use the coffee maker, and you can click on the coffee maker and go to NRAAS and go to object reset, I think, right from there, you know, so I did that. But you can reset everything and kind of solidify it for the whole town, get it taken care of, and get it done. And then you can move on with your game. So that's what I recommend doing is, you know, make a habit where it's Thursday night, Friday night in the game time or something. You're like, oh, it's game Friday, so it's going to, you know, I need to run my reset everything. So again, NRAAS mods from the City Hall. You might be able to do it from a computer, but I don't mess with that. So you go to City Hall, you go to Town, then Local. So local being every single object in the town, and from there, this is object reset. So if you notice, my game is slow, but not terribly slow. 21,000 objects have been reset. Good to know. If I had gone another game, you know, 2 days or 3, then it could have easily gotten up to 30 or 35,000. This gameplay, the test of time scenario, I usually get up to about 35,000 by the time that I have to reset. I do this constantly. It does take 5 to 7, 8 minutes, depending on how many objects. So make yourself a coffee. You have to get up and go to the bathroom, or before you do your final save at night, like save your game, then reset it, save it again, go to bed, be done with the game. You don't have to overthink this. You just need to work it into some chore you have to do around the house. You go do that real quick, come back, and it's done. You know, we all have to use the ladies' or boys' room or whatever from time to time. So, you know, click on reset while you go. It's not that difficult. Town personalities. So, yeah, these things, I guess, get looked at again. Oh, that's just because I'm playing him. Nobody cares. Also, notice this blinked out. It'll probably, once I start playing the family, come back. I'm not really concerned about that. It's one of the things. The game resets every individual sim. So everybody will be outside the house again. The only downside to doing the reset is they'll go back to, okay, it's 7 in the morning. You're hungry and you must have slept. So if you have a sim that's a light sleeper that was up all night, or there's a party animal that was up all night, they're going to get reset. So if you're doing some kind of a challenge, keep an eye on that, because, you know, if you're doing the I'm surrounded by idiots challenge, whatever your scores were going to be either off and your sims are, you know, or if they just had a long sleep because they work an odd shift, it's going to maybe take that sleep away from them if you did the reset late at night. So this just goes back to kind of the game default for what sims would have for that time, for what their hunger, bladder, energy, and all that would be. Thank you. Okay, so Greta has left. That's how we got rid of her. That inappropriate car is gone. That's how we got rid of that. Normally, I would save the game right after doing a reset, but I'm going to show you the ghost that I promised to show you. And this, I find this really annoying that it's not automatically cleaned up, because I do not play. I'm going to play that eventually, that job, but I've had this game for 10 years and I haven't played through the Ghost Hunter career. I might have played 1 or 2, you know, where they go out on the job once or twice and I said that's boring or that's annoying, or I hate the lighting and the sounds it produces, but it might be fun when you play more of it. I just didn't have patience and didn't play it. So now for 10 years, I have ghosts in my game I don't need. It's kind of weird. Alright, so let's go back. City Hall. You can play a baby and do this, by the way. It doesn't matter. You're just going to NRAAS. MasterController back to town. Object stats. So the way I remember this is it's the last of the object list. Not stats. It will delete the objects. So don't make that mistake. It says stats up here as well. Go to local. We're going to give it a second to load local. Keyword flush. So up here is what the mod is doing. It is going to flush these objects. So don't click on all your sims in town unless you need to immediately clear your town of sims. Let's say you were making a town and playtesting the town and you need to upload it to whatever website to share the buildings and everything that you've designed and not the sims. That might be maybe the only reason ever to click on all your sims and delete them, but you can absolutely do that from here. The other thing I will point out is you can delete, let's say, all the books. We just saw purge written books. If you go into flush here, you'll get the other normal books. There can be 10 or 12,000 just normal books because the sims automatically buy them. They get spawned into inventories or whatever. So, I just had one of the legacy games that I play is not tested time. I actually could, because I play the random legacy challenge, and I'm a couple generations into that on, 2 different versions of that challenge. Well, one of those families, a generation previous to what I was playing, had gone to Island Paradise, right? Which is a crazy... Island Paradise is a hot mess of a huge world with lots of other errors. I don't play it generationally, but I let my generation go there, right? They rented a boat. The kids were going to come back and see if everything was still on the boat, which was super sweet. The parents had made... like burgers or something, and they were still sitting out on the counter a generation later when the parents had died, and the kids got to go eat the burgers. So it cracked me up. But then you go there, and it was so slow when I reset that town. When I got into this, actually, I did the reset, but then I got into the local objects, and I went to stats, which is flush, and I ended up with something like 15,000 books that... I don't know how they bought that many books. We visited for 1 game week and came back in a generation, and there was just 15. It might have even been up to 20,000 books. It was crazy. So, let me get back into what this is. This is all of the objects in your game. Now, these are ordered by title, normally. You can order them by count. So, if I have a big problem in the game, I'll just click on count, up or down. I have 1,900 food ingredients in my... in not the lot, but in the entire town. I'm going to leave that be. Now, this I've made the mistake of deleting some of these before. It will delete the garden plants that have been installed, like, let's say a community garden, or, just a garden that's hidden in the back of some house or something. All those plants get deleted if you get rid of this. So you might end up with a lot because, again, your families might be growing food. It might be part of your challenge. But if you're playing a lot of families doing that, you want to keep an eye on this. Don't just get rid of it. Now, I have nobody, if I have nobody that needs to fish, I can get rid of all the fish. I don't care. They're going to come back. That's not a spawn point. But these are the spawn point for the food, so be careful about that. Gem spawners, that's another thing. This is the name of it, where it's from the spawners is a gem. This is just going to get rid of the gems. That also means cut stones. Anything you've ever had drawn. If you like one painting, you're not going to be able to find it. It will be gone if you get rid of this. So I need to go... all the way down. This is also how I find imaginary friends. I didn't know I put a cow in here. I can get rid of this. I don't want somebody to own this in the current era, right? So the cool thing about this is you can get rid of things that you don't want your Sims owning. The limo, I'm not sure how it works. I don't want to mess with it. Here's somebody in the medical profession that shouldn't be. Must have gotten assigned to it. I don't think I have anybody using a walker. We're in the Roman era. I can get rid of that. So things that are not... that you didn't want them to have, the Sims will rebuy them anyway, just so you know. This is a spawner, so fishing spawner. That will get rid of a spawner that creates fish. I don't recommend getting rid of that. So just read these and learn about them, or, see if you can find any truffles. You can go back to focus, right? You can go to the first of the 3 options and focus on truffles and find them before you go back into object stats to flush them. Alright, well, here's this. Get out here. This is one of the ways. You can also go, like, car expensive if you don't want them to have expensive car. You're not owning a fish boat. Get out of here. I'm not actually trying to go through these individual items right now, but I don't want them playing with a robot toy. This is one of the ways that I do keep this town looking older, where I don't want modern things in it. I can get rid of some modern things. This tanning booth probably appears on the... I don't really care, though. If I don't see them using it, it's not going to bother me, but that's probably at one of the city festivals. All right, I'm not here to do all these. So this isn't going as quickly, so I'll zip through here. I don't have imaginary friends right now. What I need is, and this is what's funny about the ghosts or the spirits or whatever they're called, there's like 35 usually, but I'm pretty sure I have them by now because they attraction gift, 34 of these. I don't mind that my Sims get these, but they are stuck all over the town in mailboxes, guaranteed. They're also messing up the tally of how much money everyone's made, so I'm going to get rid of those 34 gifts. And here's exactly what I'm talking to you about. Object Spawner Spirit. This is only useful for the Ghost Hunter career. There are 35. That is the total that I will ever have. If I leave this as it is, those 35 spawn points, or whatever you want to look at them as, they will just be wherever they are forever for another 10 generations of the game. of me playing those, you know, that many Sims, that would happen. I'm going to flush them. Let's click yes. It's going to ask a confirmation. Now, I don't know if you can get in here. Yeah, you can't grab... Oh, Omni plant. Yeah, we don't need that anyway. I have no idea, by the way, what you do with the Omni plant. I've just never actually grown it in the game. Yeah, so we're going to flush the all and get rid of all of it. The spirit's the one that's coming up my game right now. Alright, and that's it. That's super easy to do, by the way. Deleting things is easy. So now when I get back to my game, aside from graphical issues, a lot of these videos will tell you turn your graphics up or down, use this town, do this, do that. The reality is, if you have generations, those spirits spawned everywhere anyway. And if you have a lot of written books and things, that's all gumming up your game, and you could at least reset them. So, I hope that was helpful to you. Not too long of a video, but definitely not too short. But that's the object reset, and that was the flushed object. Highly recommend that you go through once every several game days and just flush the ghosts, at least, you know. Get rid of the imaginary friends for the families you're not playing. You can do that sort of thing. So, good luck to you. Happy simming, everybody, and I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you later.